Hi, this is Teresa Momber, and here's a look at the card I'll show you how to create in today's video. Start by trimming white cardstock to 4 and 5¼ inches, and then stamp the new Framescapes image from the Framescapes Simply Spring stamp set from Gina K Designs using a really light colored ink. I'm using Memento Angel Pink ink, but you could use any ink that's really light colored. I'm just pre-stamping it in this light color so that I'll know where I want my horizon line to be on my card. So with my image stamped in a really light color, I used sticky notes to mask off the bottom of the cardstock, and then I'll sponge along the horizon line using Gina K Sweet Corn ink. Then switch to Gina K Sweet Mango ink and continue sponging. After the orange, switch to Gina K Bubblegum Pink ink and continue sponging. For the next color, switch to Gina K Powder Blue ink and continue sponging, working into the pink areas and close to the edges of the paper, but not quite all the way. And then finally we'll switch to Gina K Wild Lilac ink and then sponge from the edges of the cardstock, working your way into the blue. Now remove the mask and place it over the sky, leaving the ocean section open so that you can sponge that. And we'll start by sponging Gina K Bubblegum Pink ink. And go ahead and sponge this kind of throughout the entire ocean area, but kind of lightly and a little darker around the edges. Now switch back to the Gina K Wild Lilac ink and continue sponging once again. And just like with the pink, you're going to want to have this darker around the edges and lighter toward the center, particularly offset a little bit to the left where your open area is. That's where we're going to have the sunlight shining down. So we want that to be a little lighter. Then remove the mask. Place the cardstock back in your stamp positioner and re-stamp the image, this time using Gina K Black Onyx ink. If you wanted, you could leave the image just like this, but if you want to step it up a little bit, add some shading. I'm starting with Copic marker in 7. Now switch to Copic marker in 5 and blend out from the previous color. That'll make those little land masses look a tiny bit lighter in the front than in the back. Now I'm adding some ripples to the water, and I'm doing this with Copic marker C5, and I'm just adding some little broken up horizontal lines here and there, and but I'm keeping those lines mostly to the sides and leaving the center portion, although offset a little bit to the left, uh, without the lines, because that's where the sunlight is going to be shining. And then for a little more depth and interest, I'm adding more shadow lines using Copic marker BV13. And I'm also going to add some clouds to the sky. And to start with this, I'm going to use Copic marker N3 and just draw in some wispy clouds here and there. And with the clouds in place, I'm switching to Copic marker N5 to add some shading to the clouds. So I'm just going along the upper edge of the clouds to draw in little lines to add that shading. And then I switch back to the N3 Copic marker to blend the shading into the clouds. Next, use an opaque white gel pen to add the sun and some highlights to the water. Start by just kind of drawing in a light area in the center there, but again, offset to the left a bit, and then create the reflection of that in the water. Adding below that reflection just some little highlighted horizontal lines again to show those ripples and the reflected sunlight. For the next step, we'll add some interest to the foreground using the tiny grass with a bird on it image from the Framescapes Simply Spring stamp set. Stamp that twice using Gina K Black Onyx ink. And then we'll stamp the large silhouette tree image, also from the Framescapes Simply Spring stamp set, using Gina K Black Onyx ink. And go ahead and place a sticky note or something to mask off the water so that your trunk doesn't extend down into the water. We just want that to be on the bank of the land. And now we need some reflections in the water for the trees and for the grasses. So I'm back to using my N5 Copic marker and just adding those in, just loosely coloring in below those images. Switch to a lighter Copic marker. I'm using Copic marker N3 to do the trees that are more in the background. To complete the card, prepare a 4¼ by 5½ inch in the navy card base, and then adhere the image layer to your card base. And that completes today's video. Thanks for watching.